Alright, my name is Dominocovic, and I will be talking about the harnessing subsystem on behalf of my teammates Chelsea Barricade and Brian Toy. And let's move on. Alright, the requirements for the harnessing. Really the main requirement is to just send power and data to all our components, but with those requirements have other very specific requirements. The main being is obviously withstanding the space environment, making sure it doesn't short. And we also want to make sure we use all the wires, cables, and connectors that are part of the NASA preferred parts list. And with that kind of NASA standard, we also have to have minimum gauge requirements for all our various different types of wires. As you can see there, we have a minimum of 24 gauge for our data and a minimum of 22 gauge for our power. We also have to make sure that all our different types of signals are separated by at least 2 inches. And then we make sure that we separate the returns for our power and power lines. We also want to conform to other various standards that you see below. Next slide. Alright, so for our initial steps in the harnessing, we basically just researched how other people, all the standards for wire harnessing as I said before, and we established these requirements. And after we established the requirements and all the shielding, as you can see here, this is our basic shielding methodology for our wires. You see we start with a bare wire, we coat it with the PTFE plastic insulation, then we wrap that in Kapton, and then we wrap that again with a Glen Armor-like braid, which is just a metal braid for EMI effects and such. And then we add again another layer of Kapton, and all this together, we can basically get a mass estimate for wires. And next slide. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Oh, actually, it's right there. Connectors, braces, ties, etc. are included as margin, and we have a really high margin on that, and I believe 75%. So basically, what we have here is all our weights in grams per meter with all our various different types of wires, and then we also have the shield types and their weights. And from that, next slide, please. We had basically a 2D layout of our vehicle, various 2D layouts, and this is one of them. It's the UPS vehicle. So we just make sure we get all the components and make sure how many wires they require for every component. We wrap all the cables basically along panels, or depending how integration tests and mass properties would like it, outside panels or inside the glass cylinder, to all the components that either require telemetry or power. And next slide, please. So here on your left, we have basically all the mass breakdown of all 3 vehicles. As you can see, over is the heaviest, obviously, with all the instruments requiring all their data and data telemetry wires. And as you can see, those all include the 75% margin. And here we can see basically the number of lines, and those number of lines include redundant wires, and over again is the highest with all the telemetry and extra components we have on it. So, I believe that's it. Is there any questions?
So I can see the 75% margin.
I don't think we included it.
Okay.
We distributed it out through all the panels from mass properties.
I should put that on the chart.
Yeah.
When I was thinking about this, because some of the big vehicles, you might see 1,500 connectors, 1,700 connectors. You use that mass property start with the connector first, that's the heavy part of the harness, again, depending on the length of the routing. And then the cable comes after that. So it looks like you guys kind of assume that the connectors don't weigh. Yeah, connectors are really heavy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Why you expect to have a line item and then just put it on the margin, right? So you could count for the connector work, then put margin on top of it.
Yeah. These sides, the harness is based on the connector, and that's how else the cost been.
Right. It was just very difficult to get, all the connectors for different instruments and stuff, because they don't really release that information. So it was really hard to get.
Yeah, that's
why we need to put more margin on it.
Yeah.
The margin you guys had in the first chart was pretty low.
Yeah.
So each panel in each one of these columns you see here, there is a 75% margin on each one of these rows. And then on top of that, we add another 50% margin on the entire math sum. So we can try to account for all those connectors and stuff that way. So we have like a double 75 and 50% margin incorporated into our math.
Come out of insurance.
You don't get this.
Okay, yeah. And that's contingency of money.
All right, if there's no more questions, we're going to have a 10-minute break, and then Christine Diaz will bring you back with survivability. All right, take it easy.